Okay, so now that we've talked about a bunch of different aspects of producing and what goes into being a producer, the different types of stories, let's see if we can combine it all together and put together a show for the class. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be getting a little OCD and we're going to build a newscast. So when you first walk into the newsroom, you're going to have the first thing that you're going to come up to is going to be the rundown. And this is where you're going to start building your show. Now, for us, we're going to use the rundown that we use at Trojan Vision, which is a piece of software that we've created called ScriptWriter. It's a very basic piece of software, and it works really, really well for us. So inside each story is going to be a template that we're going to pull information from. And as a producer, you guys are going to be producing a part of a newscast for the end of the semester. So in each story, blank story, you're going to have a template, things like story name, the anchor name, insert story text here, what kind of story it is. If there's a tag in it, we're going to put that in. And then on the left side, we've got the director's notes. So things like what kind of story, package sought, vote sought, how long it is, how it's going to end. And then at the bottom, we even have a section of social media, so we can send things out to Twitter. And so it can be Twitter, social media, it can be Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, not really a social media there, but still around in some incarnation. But for our class, we're going to be dealing with Twitter, and that's going to be the main social media that we're going to wind up be using for this project. So one of the things that you do have to take up time and to kind of help your show is what's called a tease. And a tease is where you give people a little bit of information to get them interested so that they're going to keep watching. Now, at the very beginning of the show, some stations use what's called a squeeze tease, where they put the anchors in a smaller box or a part of the screen, and the anchors start telling you what's coming up in tonight's show to give you an idea of what to look for, what to listen to, and to see if any of it piques your interest so you're going to keep watching. So, for example, a couple examples for the teases for nightly news. We would have one anchor, Anchor B, saying, "Tonight we find out more about homecoming festivities." The other anchor will then follow up with, "And how Troy University is feeding the hungry. Stay tuned, Troy Trojan Vision News starts right now." Here's another example, is a new queen has been crowned, and one Troy University fraternity is helping make a little girl's wish come true. Stay tuned, Troy Trojan Vision News starts right now. And then right after that, we would play the animated open that would take us into the show. Now, in the middle of our show, we break it up into different blocks, and each block has a theme. If it's news, the feeds, the sports, weather, and some of those blocks will have a break of a commercial break or a public service announcements to separate those aspects. So at the beginning of a break, your anchors are going to tease you with some information to make sure that you're going to stick around, you're going to watch the commercials, and then after the commercials, you're going to have the story that they talked a little bit about. So before we go into a break, the anchors may say, "Still to come on Troy Trojan Vision News, the Trojan football team is back in action. In action on Saturday on its home turf. Ryan Renfro has more in sports." And then the other anchor says, "And an attack in Israel has caused for an increased security. More on that after the break." And then they'll go into the break, and so you're like, oh, well, we've got football talking coming up. There's also something going on with Israel and security, so I might want to see what's going on with that. So you'll stick around after the commercial to see what all is going on. Now, when we're writing scripts and we're looking at the contents, the scripts are going to have three parts. The first part is going to be the introduction. And again, this is a little bit like a tease within a story. We're going to give you a little bit of information about the story to get you interested and continue watching our program to see what the story's about. Then you're going to have the main body of the story, and this is where all of your information and your meat of the story is going to be. It can be a package. If it's a copy, then it's going to be, your intro will be like the first line of the copy, and then the body will be the rest of it that has the information. And then at the end of the story, you're going to have a tag, and a tag is either going to reiterate something the story said, or it's going to provide you with some information that wasn't in the story that they still want you to know about. So for this part of the script, we have the introduction. Troy University's campus kitchen is primarily known for feeding the needy in Troy community with extra food from the dining hall. But in addition to providing prepared food, the group is now teaching the community a little bit about where their food comes from and how it helps them stay healthy. Ernie Powell has the details. And then we go into the story about Campus Kitchen. And then after the story, we have the tag of extra information. If you or anybody would be interested in volunteering at the campus kitchens, you can visit the Civic Engagement Office in Eldridge Room 115. So that's something that now that you're really interested in the story about how they're teaching people and helping people, if you want to be a part of it, we've given you a little information of how to do it. So let's find some facts and turn them into a story. So Troy University sent out a tweet on social media that says Amy Russo, a senior broadcast journalism major from Pace, Florida, was crowned homecoming queen at Troy University, and here's a picture of it. So when we look at this tweet, what do we know? We know Troy University homecoming this is their homecoming queen was crowned. I can go look at their football schedule. And I know that these the crowning events usually happen during halftime, and the football schedule said that it was at the Idaho game. The winner is Amy Russo's. She's a senior. She's a broadcast journalism major, and she's from Pace, Florida. Now, going back to Troy University's homecoming website, they have information about the process. I know that there was a 5-candidate court. It was selected by popular vote from the students, but there was also an interview process. So on that homecoming page, I can see a section that says each candidate will present their platform to an interview committee, which selects the winner based on the combination of their popular vote and their interview score. And then I know that there was also other homecoming winners. So a lot of this information I pulled from their internet or from their webpage and from the basic tweet. So let's kind of move that around and turn it into an anchor introduction. So we're going to say Troy University crowned a new homecoming game during homecoming game on Saturday. Amy Russo, a senior broadcast journalism major from Pace, Florida, was crowned the queen during the halftime of Saturday's matchup against Idaho. Russo was selected from a court of 5 candidates that went through an interview process to determine who best represented the Trojan spirit. We'll have the results of Saturday's matchup later in the show during sports. So I went in and I took the basic facts that you could see in yellow, made it a little more conversational as I introduced the story. So at this point, it could either be a package that was presented, or we could have video of the crowning and turn it into a VO. And then when we come back for the tag, I'm now teasing a segment of sports. I'm even tying sports and bringing them into a part of this story. So when it goes in the script, it looks a little bit like this. I have Jordan on camera 1. She's reading the intro. University crowned a new homecoming queen during homecoming game on Saturday. Then I have this strange looking text. It says equals equals bracket take VO equals equals equals. This is going to let the director and the anchor know that we're going to start playing video of the homecoming queen getting crowned while the anchor is reading. So between this take VO and this take tag, this is the body of the story and the content. And at this point, we also know that the video is going to be playing and we're not going to see the anchor. And because the anchor sees take VO, they know to not stop talking. They're going to keep going. So they're going to just go from saying the game on Saturday, Amy Russo, a senior broadcast journalism major, and they're going to keep reading. When we get to the segment that says take tag, the anchor's going to know that the video is going to stop and they're going to be back up on the air. So there have been some times where during a VO, an anchor may like try to scratch their nose or fix their hair or something, straighten their shirt a little bit while the video is playing. And then when we get to that take tag, they know that they're going to be back up on the air. So now that we have our intro, our body, and our tag, let's put it into a script. So I've got the story type called Homecoming. The story name is Homecoming Queen. The type is a VO. The anchor is Jordan. She's on camera 1. This total story time is 37 seconds, and I'll get to that in a moment. I've got 50 seconds of VO. So for my template from the script, again, I've got the name of the story, Homecoming Queen. I've got Jordan on 1. And the reason why I have the name of the story in the script is so that Jordan knows this is a story that she's reading about. If she's looking at her tablet and it says something different, then we know something may be wrong, or tablet may be on the wrong page, or we have teleprompter wrong and she's going to go off of her tablet as a backup. So in this case, we've got Jordan on 1. There's our introduction. There's our take VO. She's going to keep reading. There's our take tag. And to time out a story, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later on, but for us, each 2 lines is 5 seconds. So each line is 2.5 seconds. So when we start adding 2.5, that's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and then we've got sort of a short line that's going to be about 37 seconds. And again, with VO, you do not add the time of the VO. You only add the time it takes the anchors to read that script. That was fun. Let's do that again. So during homecoming, we also know that faculty and staff will decorate their halls for the competition. And so let's do a story about that. So we know that faculty and staff has a spirit competition. There's going to be 3 categories. They're going to decorate a door. They could decorate a bulletin board or a hallway, or they could go all out, decorate an entire department, and perform a skit or a sketch about homecoming. Now there's prizes. First prizes include pizza, cinnamon roll, and candy. They've got first place, second place, honorable mentions. And you know that Jordan Nelson went out and did a package about all the categories and the judging, and she's got a minute 52 package for you. So let's go and throw that into a script. So I've got the information in yellow. That's the facts I already know. So now I'm going to reword it a little bit so it's a little more conversational, but also a little more appropriate for an anchor introduction. Homecoming is an exciting time for many Troy University students, but as Jordan Nelson shows us, faculty and staff are getting in on the homecoming fun. And then we'll go into the body, which is the package. So at the end of it, we'll come back for the tag that says the first place for category 3, which was a department and a sketch, was our very own broadcast and digital network. So we're going to take that information and turn it into a script. So in this case, I've got Xavier on camera 1 is reading the script, and he's going to read the introduction. Now in this case, I've got the equals take PKG. This means for the news anchor, we're going to take a package, so they're going to stop reading. Whereas with the VO, they know to keep going. So at this point, once he says the faculty and staff are getting in on the homecoming fun, he's going to stop. We're going to take the package. At the end of it, since when Jordan shot the package, she didn't know the winners, but we do now know, we're going to add that information into the tag to add to it. So we'll say the first place for category 3 was our very own broadcast and digital network. So again, we're going to take that and put that into a script. Story name, Homecoming Hall. Package is the type. Xavier's our anchor, and this time actually I've got Xavier on camera 2, Xavier on camera 2. And I've gone in on the director's notes. I've got a package. It's a minute 20, and that's going to kind of line up with the take package session. And then after the take tag, I've got Xavier on camera 2 again, talking about the winners. So let's build a story for what we're going to need for our show. So I'm going to go over, and I've got the software that we use called ScriptWriter. Let's open up story number 1. I'm going to cancel this for a second. So as you can kind of see when we first opened it, this is a template of a newscast that we just pulled in. So I've got a squeeze, I've got the open, I've got stories 1, 3, and 2. I've got news from around the state and our teas. So this is all of our news segment. After that, we've got sports. And then after sports, we're going to come back and start reading the feed sections. And then we'll go into weather. And after weather, we'll do a interview segment called Tea Talk. And then we'll close out the show. Now, for these, the times are generic times that are put into the template. So on average, stories may be about a minute 20. We know states can be about a minute. We know our breaks are going to be a minute 40. So that's the minute PSA plus 30 seconds for the tease, and then 10 seconds for that restart. Right here, sports has their own autonomous department. So we're telling sports, you got 5 minutes to fill. And as they start working on the newscast, we'll see sports stories come propagating the rundown with copies, SOTs, videos, packages of whatever they have. So let's go into our story 1. And we've got our template up. So we're going to need to build based off of this. So I'm going to base this off of the story that I did earlier in the semester, where we talked about the weather and the summer and winter people talking to each other. So I'm going to call this story Hot Enough. And I'm going to take the same thing right here where it says story name, Hot Enough. So the anchor name, I'm going to give my anchor, I'm going to have Aaron anchor this. So it's going to be Aaron. He's going to be on camera 2 for this one. Insert story text here. So this is the anchor introduction that we're going to be using. So I know it's about how north and south, summer and winter people are talking to each other, saying how horrible their current weather is, how they wish it was the other. So as we move into spring, we're about to get into summer, so we're going to start doing this. So let's go. Spring is here, and that means that the hot days of summer are not far behind. BEH. I never said I was a good typist. And then as oops, all caps. As Steve Hartman, JRT reminds us, those wishing for winter to hurry up. Hurry up. Let's try that again. Hurry up and get here. May think about that old saying. I'll throw in some quotes. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. So, and then we're going to go in and we're going to do the take package. So what do I know about the package? Well, I'm going to come over to the director's notes, and this is not a SOD, it's not a VOSOD. So it's a package. My package time is going to be about 2 minutes and 21 seconds. The out cue, this is going to be a SIG out, and a SIG out is where the reporter says their name at the end of the story. So my SIG out is going to be Steve Hartman, CBS News, New York. Do I have any special graphics information? I might say that I want an OTS with both summer and winter elements. So summer, winter for my key. I don't really have any specific notes, so we may have something like an information graphic at the end, or I may tell the director we're starting on camera 1 instead of camera 2, but there's no notes for this one. Our story type is going to be a package, and my anchor, it says anchor on 1. I know this is going to be Aaron on 2, and my story time. Well, when I look at this, I've got to go in and I still have to write a tag because I don't have the tag for my story. So let's go and add Aaron on 2. And the text might be the National Weather Service is predicting an extremely hot summer. Summer this year. So be careful. Try that in all caps. Careful. Come on, I can do this. Be careful when out in the sun. Let's go stay hydrated. Stay hydrated and either keep covered or wear plenty of sunscreen. So this is going to be what the anchors are going to read afterwards. So I talked to either the weather department because this is a weather related story, or I may have just gone to the National Weather Service and saw what the prediction was going to be for this summer. So when we're timing this out for our story time, my story time is going to be 2:21. I'm just going to use some scratch paper over here. And then for every 2 lines, that's 5 seconds. So we've got, that's 5, that's 10. That's not a full line, so I'll say that's 15. That's 20. That's going to be 22. And we'll make that about 23. So 0. So our total time is going to be 2 minutes, and it looks like 44 seconds. 20 and 20 is 40. So yeah, our total story time is now going to be 2 minutes and 44 seconds. I'm going to just delete my scratch pad. So everything I've got is going to be, I've got the story name in both spots. I've got my anchor name for the beginning of their text. I've got the anchor intro. I've got the take package, or I could say take sought, or something along those lines. In this case, I do have a tag. So I've added the take tag. If I didn't want one, then I could just go in and delete all of that. So on the director's side, I've got take package. I've got the video length of the package. So the director knows that after 2:21, the video is going to stop and we're going to come back to Aaron for the tag. And then we're going to calculate all the time, and our total story time is going to be anchor text plus the package. So now I'm going to hit save. And I now have hot enough for you. So I'm going to move that up to number 1. And it's already got some information. Aaron's now on 2. The type is package. I can see there's the key info of summer and winter. And it's already put in the time and it's calculated. Now for this particular software, my clock is turned red, whereas before it may have been yellow. Red means I've gone over my allocated time, so I'm going to need to go in and make adjustments to the rest of the show to get that back to 0 and turning green. So that's just going to be a quick look at how you set up scripts, how you find information, and then how you take that information